In the past 10 years, there has been a lot of information written about Stoicism. Many people are becoming interested in its philosophy because it can help us find calmness and strength in our everyday lives. The main aim of Stoicism is to train the mind so much that the person would achieve a state called eudaimonia. Eudaimonia is a word from ancient Greece that means feeling really good, being successful, or being happy. It's a state where Stoics feel free and try to avoid unnecessary pain and suffering. Stoics believe that they can find happiness and contentment by focusing only on their own thoughts and mindset, rather than relying on things outside of their control. The Stoics had a term for a person who reached a state of happiness and fulfillment. The Stoic sage was a person who, by being good and logical, had made themselves unaffected by the pain caused by things happening around them. Their happiness and health are completely determined by the things they can influence, which means their actions and choices. The way they act, what they believe, the things they value, and how they see things. Wealth, reputation, respect, and constant comfort are not necessary. The Stoic sage's ideas are like a perfect goal for philosophers to work towards. Even though it's difficult to fully achieve this level of self-control for long periods of time, it still gives us something to strive for and improve our practice. Stoicism teaches us that we can achieve happiness by behaving virtuously and thinking logically. In this topic, we will talk about Stoic philosophy and the good goals it teaches us. In simple terms, we will explore Stoicism, a philosophy taught by important thinkers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius. We will learn about the key ideas and uncover the secrets for living a wise, virtuous, and peaceful life. Stoic virtue. According to the Stoics, the path to eudaimonia, meaning happiness and fulfillment, was the most important pursuit of all. The Stoics believed that in order to walk properly, we need to think, behave, and act in a way that aligns with virtue. According to the Stoics, virtue is the best thing to strive for. Stoic virtue is important for living a wise, peaceful, and strong life. Based on the wisdom of the past, the idea of virtue represents the beliefs and values that help us deal with life's problems calmly and strongly. Wisdom helps us understand what really matters in life and make smart decisions using logic and knowledge. Courage gives us the power to handle tough situations and to stick to our beliefs, even when we feel scared or pressured by others. Justice helps us treat other people fairly, kindly, and with respect. Temperance helps us control ourselves and find a balance between what we want and being disciplined. By practicing these good qualities, we create a life that fits well with the Stoic goal of happiness and fulfillment, which comes from living in a way that is logical, natural, and morally good. Basically, Stoic virtue helps us know right from wrong and guides us to live a meaningful life. It also helps us gain control over ourselves and find lasting happiness while dealing with the challenges of life. In order to be good, we need to first understand what it means to be good. The Stoics thought that you can have a happy life by following 4 important traits. The wise and meaningful quality of being stoic. Wisdom is your ability to understand what is right, what is wrong, and what doesn't really matter. It means being able to see the world as it really is, without letting your desires or wishes change your perception of it. The Stoics thought that being a good person and living a virtuous life is what leads to happiness and a good life. They called this eudaimonia. They thought that being good makes us happy, but being bad takes us away from happiness. Wisdom means being able to recognize and understand what is true and real, without any biases. It involves using our knowledge to make better choices and act in a more purposeful and positive way. The Stoics thought that things like money, possessions, and fame didn't really matter. They were neither naturally good nor naturally bad. They simply existed. However, Stoicism further categorizes indifference into smaller parts. There are certain things that don't really matter, but people still like them better. Having money is better than being poor because it helps us avoid stress, illness, and allows us to make our lives and our communities better instead of just trying to stay alive. Being with friends is better than being alone. Being healthy is better than being sick, and so on. These things may not always be good or bad, but people generally like them more. Decisions about whether something is good or bad usually depend on what a person does and what they mean to do. Being virtuous is usually a good thing, while being vice is usually a bad thing. Having good intentions and bad intentions are equal. The trait of being brave and not showing fear is called Stoic courage. Courage means being brave, while cowardice means being scared. Being courageous doesn't mean getting rid of fear, desire, or anxiety. It means doing the right thing even when we feel afraid, want something, or feel worried. Courage is our power to conquer fearful emotions that make us want to be afraid and stop us from doing what is right. Doing the right thing means doing what is good, even if we feel scared or unsure. In this book, Epictetus talks about how it's normal to feel scared at the beginning of something. When a building is falling or a ship is sinking, the first natural response is to feel scared and start panicking. A stronghold that can make it hard to think logically and have a clear mind. The quality of being fair and just, even in difficult situations. In Stoicism, justice means more than what we understand by justice in our language and legal systems nowadays. According to the Stoics, justice means that it is our responsibility to treat others fairly and be considerate of our community. It's about how we behave towards others in our community and how we make moral choices. It means not being greedy, not wanting things right away, not being addicted to things, not being lazy, and not putting things off. Temperance helps us remove our excessive reliance on things like possessions, alcohol, drugs, social media, video games, pornography, and similar things that can negatively impact our well-being. I don't mean to suggest that you should sell your TV and car and live in the mountains to raise goats. However, I believe you will agree with me when I say that keeping comfort and pleasure in balance is usually a positive. Stoic logic and reason. Our lives are composed of many small reactions we have to things that happen every day. When someone talks to us, we listen, think about it, and then reply according to what we understood. When someone drives in front of us, in traffic, when we don't get a promotion, or when something changes or we lose something, we think about what happened and react accordingly. In philosophy, people often encourage the use of logic and reason to improve our lives. This is because we have two main ways of understanding the world. We use our thinking and understanding to figure out what is true. We rely on our feelings and beliefs to decide what we think is true. The issue with relying on our feelings and opinions to understand the world is that they often don't match up. We often have opinions, incorrect thoughts, and high hopes that may not be true about the world. If we only rely on these things to understand the world, we will definitely experience pain and problems. We feel bad because we expect the world to be a certain way instead of accepting it the way it is. This difference between our expectations and reality causes us to resist, and resisting stops us from having a calm mind. However, when we use logic and reason, we set aside our own personal preferences and try to look at the world without any bias. By having a more realistic view of the world, we can easily accept it as it is instead of fighting against it because it doesn't match our beliefs. For instance, rain. We understand that rain is a natural part of how our planet's weather works. Sometimes there is rain, sometimes there isn't. So, when it rains on a special day, the philosopher thinks that rain is a normal part of life and nature, and that we should just accept it. Moreover, we have no power over it, so no matter how much we may suffer, it can't be altered. But we can decide how we react and still have a good day. On the other hand, when we feel emotional about this situation, we tend to place our own expectations on it instead of looking at it rationally. For example, we might think it shouldn't rain on my special day, or why does this always happen to me? We feel pain because of something that happened. Traffic. As drivers, we understand that traffic is a normal part of driving. It's not realistic to never expect traffic because it's just what happens when you're driving. It makes sense to agree with this. We should understand that getting stressed or angry won't make the cars in front of us go faster. We should realize that we have control over how we react, so we can use that time to enjoy things that we've been wanting to listen to, like a podcast or an audiobook that we have on our phone. On the other hand, reacting with strong emotions will probably lead to feeling mad, annoyed, and unhappy. I hope you now understand the goals of Stoic philosophy better. The Stoics believe strongly in being good, wise, and calm on the inside. They can teach us how to handle the difficult and uncertain parts of our lives today, giving us advice and comfort. The Stoics didn't just think about philosophy in a theoretical way, they used it to help them live a meaningful and happy life. If we decide to follow Stoicism, we can also start a journey to improve ourselves, learning to handle life's difficulties calmly, and eventually find inner peace and satisfaction. As we move on from the old times and start our own journey, we can take the teachings of Stoic philosophy with us. This way, we can learn from the past and shape our own path towards a meaningful and purposeful life. Even though we may never become as perfect as the Stoic sage, I think we can all use Stoicism to make our lives stronger and happier. It provides some general rules on how to behave and treat others. I believe we can all move a bit closer to the Stoic goal of happiness and fulfillment.